Hey everybody! Today I'm going to do the then versus now witchcraft tag. I've got the questions on my phone, so I will be reading them. And I'm having to film in a different room today, so sorry about the not great lighting. So, number one, what title would you have called your path when you began versus now? When I began, I started as a Wiccan, so I would have called myself a Wiccan witch. And now, I guess I'd say I'm a solitary, eclectic pagan witch. What was your divination tool of choice? At the beginning, I didn't really do much divination. My best friend who introduced me to Wicca, she was learning tarot, so I would kind of, look at her cards and she would do readings for me, but I didn't know how to do it myself. And now I mostly use pendulum, but back then and now, both, I don't do a lot of divination. 3. What was your view of deity? So, when I was learning Wicca, what I was taught was that there was a god and a goddess. And the whole creation story and the story that goes where she gets pregnant and has the kid and it turns into a god and, throughout the year. And, I was like, okay, cool. And now I believe that there's like one big greater universal energy, neither male nor female, good nor bad, just kind of energy there, right? Greater universal energy. And from within that, you get the god and goddess coming out of that. And then within the god and goddess are all the different archetypes that people, humans, have created to better understand the god and goddess and the greater universal energy. I think putting human-like faces and stories to them helps us just better comprehend something that is, quite frankly, pretty much uncomprehendable to our brains. And so, I guess that's how I see it. Number 4, what did your altar space look like then versus now? So when I first started out, I was 9. I did not have an altar. The only time I had an altar was like when me and my best friend would sort of set a little one up and do a ritual like in the woods, like down at the park. But I didn't have one at home in my bedroom, nothing like that, because I had to keep it all a secret from my parents. Then it wasn't until I was about 21 or 22 when I kind of came out of the broom closet that I had my first altar, and that was on like a small little steamer type trunk that was just sitting on the floor. I have some real old videos, altar tours of it on my channel, but so that was there, and now it's not a whole lot different from that now, except that now it's on a cabinet, so it's up higher. I can stand at it instead of having to sit down. It's bigger. I've sewed my own reversible altar cloths to use, and I just have more items I can possibly put on it, and I like to change it up for the different seasons and sabbats. 5. Have your ethics or morals changed, such as the law of attraction or harm none? Well, like I said, when I started out, I was Wiccan, so I did believe in the threefold law and harm none. Now, though, I've thought about it more like logically, and I don't think the threefold law actually makes sense. I just, at the time, just kind of believed it because it was one of those things like, well, I was told that's how it is, so that's how it is. But since then, I've done a lot more like actual logical thinking of my own and coming up with what I think, and it's, to me, doesn't make sense because I believe it was Newton, wasn't it, who said everything has an equal and opposite reaction. So every action has an equal and opposite reaction. So if you put 1 out, it doesn't make sense that you're going to get 3 back. You should get 1 back. I think that doesn't just apply to physical objects moving. I think it applies to energy as well. And as far as harm none, it's not that I don't believe in, but personally, I would not go out of my way to like curse or hex or do someone harm. But I think that if someone were to attack me or my family and I needed to protect myself or do a return to sender, something like that, I would not have a problem doing that. Let's see. Number 6. What was your main go-to for information? So at the very, very beginning, when I was 9, I really just had my friend and her father. He was a Wiccan high priest, and he was raising her that way, so he was teaching her, and so she kind of taught me what he taught her and let me read a few books from him. And I did ask him a few questions, and well, I asked him a lot of questions, but he would only really answer some of them. And I think he knew my parents were Christian and that they'd probably have a problem with him telling me that stuff. So I think he just kind of didn't want to, so he kind of kept it kind of vague and didn't really answer a whole lot of my questions. And so for a long time, I just kind of went off of what I knew from my best friend. And then it wasn't really until I was, like I said, 21 or 22 that I started actually like buying books and going online and looking myself for resources to study and learn from. Let's see. How did you start celebrating the seasons and sabbats compared to how you do now? So when I very first started at 9, I only celebrated Samhain and Yule. And I did that for 3 years, and I did big rituals with my best friend for those two, and then I didn't really celebrate the other sabbats. I didn't really know much about them. I knew they existed, but I didn't know much about really anything about them. And so I didn't really celebrate those, and it wasn't until I was, again, 21 or 22, that I started doing more research and reading more and learning more about the other sabbats, and I started incorporating them. And I started out small, not doing a whole lot, just maybe lighting a candle, decorating my altar, and then I kind of moved on to wanting to like make a meal for the Sabbath dinners and like doing some different activities sometimes for like Yule, like making Yule crafts or something like that. And so that's kind of what I do now. Sorry, I'm lost. Number 8. No. How have your celebrations or spell work changed regarding the moon? At the beginning, I didn't do a whole lot with the moon specifically. Like, I didn't use any moon correspondences or anything with spell work. And I didn't do any, I didn't celebrate the sabbats or anything. Then when I was 21, 22, kind of revamping my practice, I did start celebrating the sabbats, but I realized that pretty quick, like after about a year, that was kind of overwhelming and too much for me, and I didn't feel the need to celebrate them all the time, so I don't really do that anymore. Now I keep track of when the full moon is, and I, acknowledge that it's the full moon, but I don't really do much with it. And as far as spell work goes, now I do incorporate doing spell work at certain times of the moon phase, depending on what I'm doing. And number 9, has your use of tools changed over time? Herbs, crystals, wand, etc. So at the beginning, of course, when I was a kid, I didn't have any tools. I had just like the spices from our kitchen cabinet and a few birthday candles and tea light candles. And then my best friend had a couple, she called them robes, but they were like dresses. And so she would let me borrow one of them on the Sabbats so that we could celebrate together. And again, just on Samhain and Yule. And I didn't use a wand or an athame or anything like that. She had tarot cards that we would use sometimes, but other than that, I didn't really have any tools. And so then I started slowly making my own. I made my own wand, and I wish I still had it. And some different things. And then now, over the last, 10 years or so, I've collected a lot of different tools and items from antique shops and thrift stores, and things like herbs and stuff. I grow a lot of them. Not a ton, but I grow what I can myself, and I really enjoy doing that. So, oops, what happened here? Sorry, my phone. Yeah, and as far as crystals, I've always collected crystals, literally my whole life. I think I got my first real one from an actual store when I was 4 years old. Before that, I was just collecting the ones from outside that I found. And so I had a huge crystal collection until my parents moved. Till we moved when I was 9, and they got lost somewhere in transit between the two houses. Most of them got lost. But at first, I would use crystals to decorate on my little makeshift altar that I would make out in the woods and stuff like that. But I didn't use them for properties or anything like that, and now I do. I like to utilize them for their properties, like pieces of it, like in jewelry, or just sitting around holding them, as well as using like little crystal chips in things like oils or on top of my candles, stuff like that. Alright, so I hope you've enjoyed this video. Now I tag you. You're it. So I'd love to see your responses. Alright, thank you so much for watching. Please subscribe to my channel, leave a comment down below, and I will see you next time. Bye!